This episode is sponsored by Smart Travel, a new podcast from NerdWallet. You know that one friend who always finds the best travel deals, picks the right cards, and somehow ends up in first class for the price of coach? How do they do that? Well, Smart Travel is like that friend, but in podcast form. They cover all things travel finance, like which travel cards earn their keep and which are just heavy, shiny metal, and planning group trips that won't ruin your budget or your friendships. So travel smarter and spend less. That's the key with help from NerdWallet. Follow Smart Travel wherever you get your podcasts. Armchair Explorer is a part of the Voyescape podcast network. Check out all of their shows from around the world at voyescape.com. Can I tell you the most embarrassing thing I've ever done in a supermarket? This is
what
so
a specific ask.
This like sums up my character.
Yeah.
So I went to the supermarket and I'm just sitting around shopping, doing my thing. And then I look down and I'm like, I don't remember putting these things into my trolley. And what had happened is I'd accidentally stolen someone else's shopping cart.
That's so invasive.
And it was so awkward because it could be anyone around me. I just sort of parked up my shopping cart and picked something up and then absentmindedly put it into someone else's and walked off with it. How many people do that?
Honestly, that's better than the other way around where you like sneak an item into someone else's cart when they're not looking, but you make it a really, really like mean kind of item, like some deodorant or something. Like, you need this.
So I did what any sensible person would do. I immediately left that other shopping cart.
You just left the store.
Ran out of the supermarket, and I've never shopped there again ever since.
I respect that so much as like someone with some social anxiety. Like you just admit defeat and never go there again.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well,
anyways, welcome to Pathways.
Welcome to Pathways.
2025.
Let's go. Let's get on with the show. So welcome to our Pathways episode. These are the episodes where myself and Jason Paton, our lead producer here, we kind of just explore all the episodes we have coming up that month. We play some of our favorite clips. We share some behind the scenes stories, some of the stuff that didn't make it onto the show. It's kind of like a cross between a highlight reel, an interview, and me and Jason down the pub.
Cheers.
Cheers. So welcome to the show and Happy New Year to you, Jason.
Happy New Year to you as well. What are your resolutions and have you already failed them?
Oh my gosh. You know, I used to do resolutions I used to have a list of about 100 resolutions and now I've sort of decided that I don't want to set myself up for failure.
I think that's a great idea. Why would you want to start a new year that way?
By February, I'm just depressed.
It's like my New Year's resolution is like, I don't know, do your best.
Do your best.
Yeah.
I do have one New Year's resolution, which I think is pretty cool. I want to walk every single path in Boulder County. That's where we live in Colorado. In one calendar year. So there's like 154 miles or something like that of trails all around us. How lucky are we? And I want to walk every single one by the end of the year. Yeah, so that's my kind of fun resolution. Do you have a fun one?
I'm trying to set realistic sights. I've been lucky to go to a ton of places in the U.S., most of the U.S. states, but one place that I still have yet to check off is New Orleans.
Oh, nice.
And for two reasons. One, I just love the idea of going somewhere that's like actually old in America.
Yeah.
I mean, like you grew up in places where there's street signs older than my country.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
To go somewhere that's, with history dating back to like the 1600s for like, settlers coming in, and then indigenous history going back way further than that, like such a cultural difference down there. I'm excited to see something
It's beautiful.
new.
Great shout. And it really does look like a European city.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's amazing. I was there a while ago doing a couple of different stories, but one of them was about voodoo. So you got to really get into that when you're there. There's some really cool voodoo stuff. I actually went to a voodoo ceremony while I was there.
So you're cursed. That's what
maybe
you're telling me.
Oh well, yeah. I mean,
it
I tried.
Explains so much.
That's right. But voodoo's actually like not what the movies make it out to be, and maybe we'll do an episode about that. That would be a really cool story to do. So I'll save that one.
Yeah.
Anyway,
keep your eyes out.
Let's go to what we have coming up. We've got a really great month. We got blues. We got epic bike trips. We've got an alternative to the Oregon Trail, which is an episode that Jason wrote, which is really fascinating and amazing. We got canoe journeys, we got Irish saints, we got bucket list hotels. But first, Let's go to the land of fire and ice.
There's nothing quite like the first time you see them. It almost felt out of body. It almost felt alien in nature, because you're taking something like the sky that has been stable your whole life, and then all of a sudden it's moving rapidly, or it's banding, or it's got colors that you've never seen. So it's just so foreign feeling. But I think that the knowing that when we were pushing the shutter, that we were capturing what we were capturing, that's what was exciting. And so to know that, from my experience, when it is really bright and it is really exceptional, it's so bright that your skin almost turns green. The ocean turns green. And so I felt like that was the exciting part, was knowing that we were capturing it, because by capturing it, we could actually share it with other people. It gives me chills still thinking about that final scene when all the excitement is there and we're screaming and hollering and hooting. It almost like, I don't know, in some ways just has this deep resonation that this is what like childhood exploration is always meant to be about.
So that clip is from one of our signature episodes. These ones are like the classic ones where the guests and I kind of tell the story together with lots of music and sound design. And the guest who we just heard on that one is a guy called Chris Burkard, who's an amazing adventure photographer and filmmaker. He works all over the place, but he kind of specializes in Iceland. He's from California, but he actually lives out there now with his family. And the part of the episode that Chris is talking about in that clip is actually when he experienced the Northern Lights, which you can see in Iceland. Iceland is famously known as the land of fire and ice, and it is incredible. There's like more wonders per square mile in Iceland than anywhere else in the world. I'm sure of it. So it's a great episode. It's about a bike trip he did along something called the Forgotten Coast. But that clip is about him surfing the Northern Lights. How cool is that?
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Like,
I've never seen the Northern Lights, so the idea of doing it in that context is just insane.
So he's really into this cold water surfing. So like they're trying to find all these waves that have never been surfed before. And then like this one time it happened that they were there and the Northern Lights kind of came out and they're like, let's just jump in and surf it. Yeah. They were so bright, like the sea was green and it was bright enough to see it. And I was telling you a little bit earlier about that hotel.
Oh, you saw the Northern Lights?
Was the only time I've seen the Northern Lights.
From inside the sauna.
Yeah. Well, not from the sauna, but that was where I saw them. And it, obviously that's on, I guess, everyone's bucket list. But the thing that I didn't expect when I saw it was I almost felt scared when I saw it. And you kind of understood why so many cultures through that history have like this different relationship with them. Some people see their ancestors but there's quite a few cultures where there's this like kind of reverence to the point of fear.
Yeah.
And it's like they felt almost alive. Like you've never seen the sky do that before. And it feels really alien and unnatural. And at first I was like, almost despite myself and the wonder of it all, a little bit just like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah, I never thought about that in that context. There are so many of those natural weather events that are so rare that kind of remind you like, oh yeah, this is why mythology has been a thing forever. Yeah. How could you not look up and see, whether it's insane thunderstorms or earthquakes or tornadoes and be like, this is the power of the gods, obviously.
Absolutely. But anyway, that's just part of the story. The other part of the story is Chris's recent adventure he did along something called the Forgotten Coast, which is a part of the Icelandic coast where there's no real access to it. There is in a few places, but no one had ever sort of crossed the 300-mile entirety of this coast. And he does it on kind of bike rafting, so he does it on a bike with a inflatable raft on his back because they have to cross all these rivers. It's an incredible story, but he's like this amazing photographer, and the images that he takes from the air of these glacier river systems are like literally looking at works of art. I'm going to share, when it comes out, I'll share a couple of these images. Yeah. He said we could share a couple. They are just some of the most stunning photography you've ever seen. And the whole point of this story was he'd been shooting them like aerial shots from above for years. And then the more he shot them, the more he just wanted to like be in amongst it. And he decided to go on this adventure. So it's a great episode, and he's a really cool guy.
Yeah, that's all over the place, from surfing to northern lights to photography to glaciers to everything.
Yeah.
You got it all.
And the thing that links it is Iceland, and the way that Iceland is this kind of raw, dramatic place, and the way that makes you feel. I always tell people to go to Iceland. I actually saw a volcano erupt.
Wow.
Like Mordor level erupt. It was amazing.
That's so cool.
No, it was like literally a black cone with lava spewing out the top. Stuff like that just happens in Iceland. We got off the plane and someone was like, yeah, there's a volcano erupting. Do you want to see it? And I was like, okay, expecting like little whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like spewing fire.
Is it like part of their tourism thing where like every time a plane lands, a volcano is triggered to go off?
Well, you know what it's like, you know, wherever you live, you sort of like don't see it anymore because it's just so normal. But in Iceland, it's things like that. And you're like, dude, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Somewhere in Iceland, there's two podcasters that are trying to record, and they're like, gosh, we got to stop. There's another volcano going off in the background.
How annoying.
We whine about trains and planes, and they're worried.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I'm excited about that. What are you excited about?
I'm excited. This month, the first episode that I wrote is going to be coming out.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
By the way.
It's for the Hidden Trails of Oregon Series 2, where we're zooming in, this time in Eastern Oregon, just outside of Pendleton, Oregon is where we're going in this episode. The episode is called We Will Never Fade. It's focusing on the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla people. And what I'm so excited about is it's all told through the lens of this cultural institute, Tamastislikt, which means interpreter, and encompasses a whole bunch of different emotions, feelings, and thoughts, but it roughly translates to interpreter. And in this conversation that we're going to be previewing, we're sitting down with Bobby Connor, who is the director of the institute, and just like LinkedIn page of Bobby would be probably 30 pages long. She's on every board and every trust and every...
She's amazing.
The ultimate expert of and ultimate spokeswoman for this topic. She has so many cool things to say. But what I think is most unique about it is it focuses on the untold story of the Oregon Trail. Yeah. Everybody knows the story of Lewis and Clark. Everybody knows the story of the Oregon Trail. We all played the video game probably. Well, I don't want to speak for you. I don't think
isn't that the video game where everyone dies of dysentery?
Anyway, so everyone knows the story of the Oregon Trail. This one just focuses on this particular tribe's story. And this conversation that we're previewing, she's telling us about, because what this episode, We Will Never Fade, focuses on is it's focusing on this culture. It's not focusing on the story of settlers coming in, all that stuff. This is focusing on the grandness of the empire that they had and how they're reclaiming that in the modern day. So this particular clip is going to dive into the massive trade network that they managed at the time and what happened to kind of unsettle all of that.
People may not be aware of it, but right there on the Columbia River in Oregon, as well as across the river in Washington, is Celilo. And it's a place where the most magnificent waterfall in the West and the richest salmon fishery for more than 10,000 years was. It's now inundated under what's Lake Celilo behind the Dalles Dam, which is a hydroelectric dam. But when you stand at Celilo Park and imagine a series of falls, iconic, more grand than Niagara Falls, you can imagine that people came from thousands of miles away because it was one of the 6 or 7 great North American continental trade centers for indigenous people here. And so we live in a place that was kind of a crossroads of history for a very long time, even before Europeans came.
And I just want to say that is a beautiful clip. Bobby talks beautifully about that and paints this wonderful picture. But the whole story, the whole way you put that together, using this kind of field audio, you hear the voices of people from these tribes talking, and you hear these kind of like recordings. Some of them are pretty old, and it's very powerful, a really powerful and moving story. So highly recommend everyone listening to that. Talk to me a little bit about the rest of that trip. That was fun, wasn't it?
Oh, the Pendleton roundup?
The Pendleton, because we also went to a rodeo while we were there, which is like, if I said the words to you, let her It's not even a her.
No.
It's like letter buck.
Letter buck in 20-foot tall letters outside of the arena. That's the tone of the whole event.
That's like the catchphrase of the Pendleton Rodeo.
Oh, they lean into it.
And yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Spectacle beyond spectacle. The first night we were there, we saw a extreme bull ride. There's explosions and fire, final. And there's these giant bulls just desperately trying to throw off riders.
Yeah.
And, you know, heavy metal music blasting out of a concert system. Like, it was just pure spectacle.
Yeah. And how well did I do when I rode a bull, by the way?
You rode a pig.
I rode a mechanical pig.
It was a big pig. I'll give you that.
It was a mechanical pig, but who came second in the entire mechanical pig riding competition?
I think that was
this guy. And we're going to be bringing lots of different episodes from that, including our Letterbuck episode and some other stories. So excited to sort of kick that whole series off. And I'll just do a quick kind of whiz through of some other episodes. We have a canoe journey in Ontario, Canada. That's really, really fascinating. Canoe culture dating back to, you know, prehistory has been a massive part of that culture and that place. And so seeing that part of the world by canoe has this kind of deeper resonance about how you see it as well. So that's a really great story. And another episode, we've got one of our immersion episodes is about Saint Bridget. You got to go to Ireland for this one.
It's very appropriate because she's the patroness saint of canoes.
No, she's the patroness saint.
You could make a case. She's the patroness saint of like everything, essentially.
But including beer.
Oh, obviously beer. Yeah.
She's like beer, fugitives.
Who's that? Canoes.
Did you ever know that fugitives got a saint?
I think everyone deserves a saint.
Yeah, but I mean, can you imagine like when they're dishing out what you're the saint of, and then you're like, you get fugitives?
Well, she was kind of
like kick in the teeth.
She was a very holy lady, so maybe she would have seen that as a very, an opportunity to help people.
Yeah, but it's like pretty niche, isn't it? Like it's not even criminals; it's fugitives. Like someone else has got criminals.
Yeah.
Once they try and escape, then Bridget's all over it. But anyway, this is actually a really beautiful story.
It is.
We didn't really set that up with the correct tone.
No, not the right tone. But it's a joyous episode, I would say, for sure. It was from this trip did last year. It was one of the first trips I did without you, actually, I think. We worked with this lovely travel writer that has been... She's British, but she's been living in Ireland for a lot of years. Nicola Brady, incredible writer, got to do a whirlwind trip through Ireland really, really quick. I feel it was like a weekend where we were just, I flew in, flew out, and somehow a million things happened in between just a couple of days. And all I kind of knew rolling in, I'm like, oh, Saint Bridget, it's something to do with St. Patrick, I'm sure. And that makes sense because St. Patrick is the most well-known figure from Irish culture. And it's become its own thing, especially in the States and the drinking holiday and all of that. But there's this new holiday that Ireland is creating, which celebrates St. Bridget, who was a historical figure from around the same time period as St. Patrick, but got no attention at all because she was a woman. And this holiday is trying to draw attention to different aspects of the Irish culture, I think, because Bridget means a lot of things to a lot of different people. And so we go from pagans dancing around a fire barefooted and pounding drums to, in this beautiful nunnery, telling us about the historical figure of Saint Bridget, to modern poets and writers that hold her up as this example of feminism and femininity. So many different characters to so many different people. And we went all over the country to explore all these different facets of who is Bridget.
Bridget, to me, is in essence an archetype. In my view, she is an aspect of our collective consciousness that's available to everybody. When I'm writing my poetry, when I'm doing my activism work, which mostly entails writing, I use the gift of the goddess, which is Imbis Ferocne. It's an ancient Irish term which means illuminated inspiration. The ancient Fili, which is the Irish word for poet, which also means seer, they got their powers from the goddess Bridget. So in ancient Ireland, they were equal in significance to the king in Irish society. Incredibly, St. Patrick banned Imbis Ferocne it was 433 AD, when he came and Christianized Ireland. He lit the Paschal fire, and that heralded the birth of the new Christian ways and the death of our ancient pagan ways. But with that, he banished the practice of Imbis Ferocne. And it's all been but written out of history. But it was on that pilgrimage, on the Hill of Slane, where Patrick lit the Paschal fire, on that very site I had a spontaneous experience of Imbis Ferocne. I didn't know what it was then, but luckily the druid Emer Burke was on the pilgrimage with us, and when I described my mystical experience that had happened, she said, that sounds like Imbis Ferocne. So all of this poetry started to flow out of me from nowhere, and I believe that that was the start of the imbus that was given to me to allow me to, 10 years later, to do the work that I did that played my part in bringing Bridget's Day in.
So that was Laura Murphy, the poet that we heard talking in there in that clip. I do want to say as well that one of the things that I loved about this production is there is incredible music that you recorded, musicians that you recorded in the field there that just really makes this episode come alive. So I absolutely love that.
Yeah, it's special to me because we're recording this episode about St. Bridget. So we're in Kildare where she built her nunnery, which was such an incredible thing to happen in history when women were not managing anything like that. But she was so capable that she was actually able to run her own like monastery nunnery. There in Kildare, we're in the Church of St. Bridget, this ancient church, on St. Bridget's Day, and hearing all these performances, live music performances and poetry readings from, you know, the best artists and performers in that area. It just felt like, how could it get better than that?
Yeah, it's a wonderful story. Nicola does a great job as well telling it. And St. Bridget Day is actually coming up start of February. So it's a really great time to share this story as well. And what I think is really cool too is last year they actually celebrated the 1500th anniversary. So the 1,500th anniversary of her death. To think that 1,500 years after she lived, what she did, her achievements and her spirit is being resurrected today as this symbol of the new Ireland and feminism and all these other things. It's pretty incredible, isn't it, to think about that?
I love this stuff. It's so interesting.
It's one of those things that it is hard to describe. So you'll just have to listen to the episode and find out. So we got one more clip we're going to share, and I think we're just going to fade out with this one.
Oh, yeah.
This was so cool. We were in Tennessee. We were following the Tennessee music pathways.
Chattanooga,
Tennessee.
Yes.
Chattanooga has a history of the blues. This was on 9th Street. This was one of the places that the blues really like took off and started to spread around the world. And we got to meet a guy called Rick Rushing, who's a blues musician out of Chattanooga. How cool is Rick?
Amazing storytelling, amazing performances. We really captured it all in there. And I think this clip that you're going to highlight is one of the meatiest moments of his interview. Yeah. But we actually have a full performance episode as well that's just us doing like pretty much an uncut conversation with him.
Yeah.
Because it was just such a wonderfully flowing conversation from the history of all music to the history of the blues to his personal experience moving into Chattanooga and playing music in Tennessee, the realizations that he's had, his family history. He's got connections to all these famous blues musicians, and what a figure.
Yeah,
Rick Rushing.
Rick Rushing, an amazing story. And as you mentioned, this is one of our performance episodes. I'd really like to do more of these. It's so cool when like you get to meet a musician on the road. And like you said, we asked them to perform for us, but we also had these like really interesting, deep chats through that performance as well. Yeah. And also, if this episode does whet your appetite for more Tennessee music, we did a whole series on Tennessee music. So just scroll back down the feed there and you're going to find stuff out about Nashville and Memphis, about bluegrass, about all sorts of cool stuff. So make sure you go and check that out.
So many other like live musical performances throughout that episode. I mean, that's what the series is all about.
Yeah.
But what I think makes that series so special is kind of the unconventional situations that we're recording people in, like, you know, Rick Rushing in the hotel room. There's a couple like big performances in that episode where, you know, there's an audience, but most of the time it's just you,
very intimate, and
whoever's singing, which naturally lends itself to more storytelling, and it just feels like you're sitting in there with them.
Yeah,
you know, it's not being polished. It's never a studio setting.
Yeah,
it's just us wherever we happen to meet them, hearing their story and hearing their songs.
That's right. It's just like sitting around with a friend of yours just jamming down on the guitar, except the friend of yours is this amazing
blues musician.
Yeah. So this is Rick Rushing. So great hanging out as always, Jason.
Yeah.
Great month ahead. Great year ahead.
2025.
2025. Here we come.
My baby, she says, can't come by today. She's afraid that I might bring pandemic away.
blues we can all relate to. Music's finished now, so that means we've got to do the credits, Jason. But
how are we doing on this week?
Well, there's only one genre of music.
What do you got
for this month's credits?
Was it blues?
It's gotta be the blues.
Right. This episode was made by Armchair Productions.
You're wasted in podcasting. That's a great blues voice. All right, let's start again.
This episode was produced by Armchair Productions. That's Aaron Millar over there, Jason Paton right here on the mic. And we're really happy to be talking to you on Pathways. Find out more at armchair-explorer.com. And I don't know, follow us on all our other shows. Listen to the stuff.
At Armchair Explorer Podcast.
I think I got everything in there.
I think that was great.
That was fun.
Quick question. Do you want travel tips from people who have actually been there?
Our show is co-hosted by Tim Johnson, an award-winning travel journalist who's been to more than 145 countries around the world. And I'm David Brody, the other co-host who's been travel podcasting for 20 years while traveling to 50-plus countries around the world.
In about 10 or 20 minutes per show, we break down a destination with the kind of insight you usually only get from long guidebooks or hours of research.
So if you want expert advice, zero fluff, and travel inspiration that you can actually use, search for Travel in 10 wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can also find us at boyescape.com.
Hi, I'm Pauline Fromer, host of the Fromer's Travel Podcast. We post new episodes weekly, detailing the kinds of money-saving tips and cultural insights that will make your trips richer without making you significantly poorer. We do so by interviewing real travel experts like TV host Samantha Brown, Fromer's authors from around the globe, and such public figures as Free Solo's Alex Honnold. It's a fun travel party. I hope you can join us.